You're listening to The Blind Chick, an Aftersight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Blind Chick. That's Moses Street.
And that's Penn Street, the Blind Chick.
Wah, wah, wah. Oh, well, Moses, I know a lot of times we chit chat before we introduce our guests, but I can't wait. I can't wait till Well, nothing we are going to say is more important than this amazing man that we're about to introduce. And I'm so excited. Our podcast producer, Jonathan, has been, praising him for several weeks, and I've really, really been enjoying it. So
I know he sent us 30 pages of notes. We normally get a half a page.
I know. So we are going to dive right in today because it is such an incredible special episode, and I'm going to learn a lot, and I know that you out there are going to learn a lot and really transform maybe the way you see us as blind people, because he definitely is raising the bar. So today I want to welcome Dr. Charles Powell. He's a blind legal consultant, business owner, and advocate for real world change in policymaking and accessibility. And that is just a fraction. I could spend half an hour going through his bio. But his motto really, really hit home. Even when I told Moses about his motto, Moses was like, oh, it got him right where it counts, right in the heart. Blind, but not broken. And everybody, welcome, Dr. Charles Powell. Welcome to The Blind Chick.
Yeah, welcome, Charles.
Thank you very much, Penn, Moses. Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to be here. And I must thank Jonathan. Sometimes I'm afraid to come on the show because Jonathan, he's doing so much talking. I'm afraid that I won't live up to it, but
you are going
to I'm afraid that I won't live up to his the hype that he's pulling, but it was a blessing to sit down and talk to him in the pre-show interviews. He is a great person.
Yes.
And he talked about you guys. And before the episode gets started, I must give you guys your flowers and say kudos.
Oh.
You think I am raising the bar for what I do? You guys, The Blind Chick is in the top 10% of podcasts in the world.
Yes.
Not in your town, not in the blind community, but in the world. And to you guys, kudos, my hat is off to you.
Thank you. But it is not, I do appreciate that, and I thank you, but it is not us. It is our amazing guests like you that come on and share what's possible out there, what they're doing, the innovations that people are doing, or just their stories. We hear from people like, I never realized that there's other communities out there that are dealing with what I'm doing. And so it's thank you for the thank you for the gratitude, but it really is our incredible guests that come on. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And to me, it's like, for me, it's been a almost 40-year educational thing, living with Penn, and which introduced me to the whole blind world. But my whole takeaway is blind people are like these potential superheroes. It's like everywhere we get out, we're hearing these incredible stories that us mere mortals can't do, So I'm going to jump into it. Is the first note is the day everything changed. And if you want to take that, Charles, and start wherever you want.
Okay, basically the day everything changed. This is the story that people, they don't share with you after the success. Once you get to a certain part, they don't tell you about day one. For me, day one was crazy. 13 years ago. Well, first and foremost, I have retinitis pigmentosa, RP. It is a eye condition that, it runs in my family. I heard my grandfather, he was totally blind. I had cousins who, went blind. Me, I just wore glasses, but coming up in New York and New Jersey, I didn't want to be the dirty kid. So as soon as I got old enough, I jumped out there and had the surgery. I didn't know what retinitis pigmentosa was. I come from the age that my parents didn't explain much or didn't educate us about much. You got it, deal with it, live with it.
Boy, is that true. Yeah.
I had no idea that one morning I would wake up and wouldn't be able to see nothing.
Mm.
And that morning was oh my God, it changed me. I woke up and instead of seeing my beautiful bedroom, the curtains, the sunshine, I just seen total darkness.
Wow.
And I went crazy. I screamed for my fiancée. I didn't know what's going on. I was scared. And first thing she did, and I give kudos to my fiancée because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have lost my mind more than I did. But, she calmed me down. We went to the doctor's appointments and they was telling me, well, you're blind. That didn't sink in. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm going to argue with you. I can't see, but I'm going to argue with you. And I just lost it. And for the next 6 to 9 months, I turned into a raging alcoholic. If I can wake up drinking, I would. I drunk. I had a 4-year-old daughter at the time who was the love of my life, my greatest accomplishment. I could not deal with life. I didn't want life.
Right.
I argued. My fiance can say, good morning, how you doing? And I would call her everything but a child of God.
Oh.
I would start arguments pushing her away. My concept, I will push you away before you leave me. Because that was my thing. I had no idea. I didn't only lose my sight that day. I lost my identity.
Yeah.
I lost my sense of self-worth. I lost everything. I didn't see nothing past that next drink, that next bottle, or that next destruction. If you would have asked me at that time, what's next? I probably would have told you that I don't care. I wish I would die.
Wow.
And that is the true reality.
And Dr. Powell,
I cried.
I think a lot of people out there can relate to that. And I do agree that I think that we do hear a lot of the successes and the celebrations, and it's hard to hear that day one, right? That's why I think it's so important that we do share that. Because
exactly. I will tell everyone where I am. The man I am today was not the man I started off at 13 years ago. I cried. I have seen violence in the inner cities of New Jersey and New York, and I wasn't afraid of nothing, and nothing broke me, but I broke down and cried like a baby. I am not too proud to say it. I cried and I was afraid. I was literally scared of what my future held. I didn't want that future. I didn't want to see the next day.
And your fiance stayed at your side the whole time?
Did she? Not only did she stay at my side, she held me up.
Oh.
Any woman, I look at her now and I remember the things that I said to her, the things that, I started the fights and the arguments, I would have left me. And in fact, I did leave me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care about myself.
Right.
She not only stayed by my side, she's the one who researched retinitis pigmentosa. She's the one who researched the NFB. She's the one who found the Division of Vocational Rehab. All of the time that I was pushing her away, she did the research.
Wow.
Trying to help me find other resources when I didn't even want them.
Wow.
My daughter, as young as 4 years old, not even 5 yet, she was about to turn 5, but she was just had no idea what was going on. When she was so used to her daddy playing with her, her daddy, I was her daddy.
Yeah.
We was like best friends. That was my love of my life.
Mm.
She like, well, daddy, can we do this? Play with me, daddy. I can't. Daddy can't see. I'm blind. Leave me alone.
Oh.
That's how bad it was. But
So what
at that
happened?
time,
Like, how do you get out of that? Something had to have triggered you getting out of that dark
what
space.
triggered the reality, as much as I started arguing with my fiance and attempted to start fights and totally ignored my daughter, it was those two. They were my lifeline.
Oh.
My daughter was like, Daddy, why don't you play with me anymore? Daddy don't love me no more.
Oh.
And to hear a child say that, it broke me. That broke me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I might not conceive, but this little child, this young lady, well, she's a young lady now, but this little girl didn't see a blind person. She didn't see nothing. It was like she seen her father.
Right.
And when I started doing stuff with her, I would bump into walls, I would trip over furniture. And it's so funny because after time went on, I stopped drinking every day. I stopped, arguing. I started listening to my fiance Deanna and like, look, we can do this. And I remember when I started coming back around, I'm like, okay, the first thing I need to do is open up my line of communication. So we was gonna go out and get a flip phone so I can just flip it open, touch the numbers, and make a phone call. And that weekend, my fiance said she had already reached out to the local chapter, the NFB.
Right.
And, she said, well, I've been talking to these people. They're having a meeting today. Just go and hear them out. Just go and listen. So I went to the meeting. Now, mind you, I never met none of these people before, but everyone in the room was blind except one person, and that was the treasurer. And my fiance went in there, and she said with me, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here, but why not? And the first thing that really, that she noticed, she was like, baby, everyone in this room got a smartphone.
Oh.
I was like, huh? And this is when I heard about the iPhone. Never knew nothing about the iPhone. Never even knew nothing about Apple. Now, mind you, before I lost my sight, I was like Moses. I hated computers. I didn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But when she said everyone had smartphones, I asked one of the youngest member, Bree, I'm like, excuse me, young lady, can I see your phone? And when she brought me that phone, I'm like, how are you doing? It's a flat phone.
Oh.
When she slid to the side and I heard Siri, I was like, what was that? And I was so entranced. Like, we left that meeting and went straight to Radio Shack and got an iPhone. And
that's amazing.
It was so crazy because once I got that, I started playing with it. And at this time, I'm spending time with my daughter. I still wouldn't go out to public, to restaurants and stuff like that. I wouldn't go out in public to eat or nothing like that because I was afraid to make a mistake. I was afraid to, I didn't want everybody looking at me. I don't want everybody judging me. So,
were you using a white cane at this moment, or were you using your fiance as a sighted guide?
I was using my fiance. Everything I was dependent on was my fiance. But when we got into the NFB and I met them, they told me about the white cane.
Yep.
I got involved with Division of Vocational Rehab.
Yeah.
They sent me down to Nitro where I took mobility training. And, I was like, okay, this is cool. The whole time I was down in Nitro, the first time was 2 weeks. I used that cane every day when I was down there.
Yeah.
Well, when I got home, it went in the back of the door. I was ashamed. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest with you.
No, I know. Been there, done that. And isn't it crazy now to think back at that? Like, now I think back at that, I'm like, I had to have looked way worse, more foolish, tripping on stuff and running into stuff.
Exactly. That is how I feel now, because now when I go out, my cane is my badge of honor.
Yes.
I'm like, look, I'd rather you look at me crazy than me walk into that wall again. But oh my God, I had every excuse. I had excuses out of days. If I'm somewhere and I ain't want to be, use my cane, or my fiance, my daughter ain't there, I try to do something, I trip over something, or I run into something. Oh man, I got an excuse. We was going to the store one day. It was me, my fiance's brother, her nephew, her father. And they know, although I can't see, but I'm trying to follow their voice and keep in line with them. I walked dead into a stop sign.
Oh.
It was not everybody laughing, but man, look, I was looking at something. I wasn't paying attention. I still want everybody to believe that I can see. So,
Right.
I had excuses for everything.
Yes.
I bumped into something. Oh, I was looking at that car. Oh, my shoe was untied. Anything that pulls away from my sight, that's what happened.
So
it was
how long? So the transition from, not wanting to literally to get out of bed, drinking, and we've all been there. We call them pity parties, whatever you want to call them. But and then you met this like incredible community thanks to your fiance, who I'm sure her angel wings are beautiful. But how long did it? Because even that part is hard, right? I remember when I started, like I was excited, like, oh, I can learn all these skills and I can be independent again, but it's freaking hard. You don't learn it like you were talking about, oh my goodness, I can use a smartphone. It actually takes a while to learn how to use it.
exactly.
But how long did it take you to really feel like, okay, I got this? Or maybe you don't. I mean, there are days I still don't feel like I got it. But you went on to just blow the socks off of every stereotype I can imagine. But how long, like when you just said it was, what did you say, 13 years ago?
Yes.
When I read your bio, Moses is like, how old do you think he is? He must have been going through this like decades ago. And I said, you know what? I don't know how old he is. And so I'm sitting here and I still don't know how old you are, and you don't have to share, but I'm sorry, but people out there in the podcast world, if you read what Moses and I were reading about Dr. Powell, you would have thought this expanded over decades. And you're sitting here telling me you went from lights out, waking up blind, to where you are now in 13 years. That seems like mind-boggling to me.
Well, basically, I can't say that when I started, it took me at least, the drinking was six to 9 months, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's just say round it off to a year. When I started seeing a year and I started getting involved with DVR and the National Federation of the Blind, going through the training, one thing I learned, first things I learned was basically the first year was a pity party, me feeling sorry for myself, me on a destructive path.
Yeah.
Me trying to kill everything around me, my relationship, myself, and everything. Not literally, but in a mental and a spiritual aspect. I mean, I didn't care about my religion, my family, my daughter. I didn't care about nothing.
Right.
I just let me drink and forget the day.
Yeah.
So that first year was a long, hard road.
Yeah.
Once I found myself, okay, this might work. It might be some stuff in this. I started doing stuff again, from the research of my fiance. We found these organizations. They turned me on to Hadley. They turned me on to Bard, the library.
Yeah.
Talking books. I mean, I didn't like to read when I had sight. Now, come on. But I mean, put a book in my hand when I got sight. Before I lost my sight, if you gave me a book, I probably would have threw it at you. I was the hands-on, the outdoorsy type people. I was just outside. That was me.
Wow.
I didn't use the computer. I didn't have no social media. I mean, I didn't care about social media. I mean, it just wasn't a turn on to me.
Yeah.
But after I lost my sight, and I figured after the first year, DVR kept sending me down to Nitro, which is their training center. I'll go down there for a week or two. One
Yeah.
time I was down there for like a month. And then at one point in time, they wanted to send me to BISM in Baltimore, Blind Industry Services of Maryland. And this was a 11, 12-month program.
Yes.
I made it approximately 6 weeks because honestly, I was always, my daughter was my world.
Yeah.
I was never away from my daughter for that long.
Yeah.
And she was used to it. And with me not being home, she was going through like separation anxiety. She just knew her daddy wasn't home.
Yeah.
And that wasn't healthy for her. So I basically came back home. And once I did that, some counselors and some people at DVR was not happy because they felt I wasn't trying to better myself. They didn't see the big picture that my daughter is my world and I was her
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah.
So they felt bad about me, giving up on their goals and their plans and coming back to my daughter. Because to me, once I started getting back to life and seeing that there is possibility for a growth, my daughter came back the most important thing in my world.
Well, yeah, she was your
So
top priority. And I think that sometimes people forget that. Like, oh, you're a parent or you're a spouse, or you may even be a caregiver, and I think it's
exactly,
really important that these systems like Division of Vocational Rehabilitation or like the program in Baltimore, or there's lots of other programs that they kind of forget, like, oh, you're blind, and they lump you all together, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm a parent, or I'm a spouse. I do have another life outside my
exactly.
blindness. So when I want to know when, but I also want to know what got you into becoming going for your paralegal certificate. Because like there has to be a story there, and I would love for you to share that.
This is a funny story because basically at this time I went through, everything and they got me hooked up with the disability, Social Security Department and all of that.
Yeah.
And I knew once I started getting those checks, I was like, dude, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit back. I don't want to sit back and live on what you give me. I mean, no, I'm not gonna sit at home and you give me a check. And that's all it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I wanted more out of that. So honestly, I sat back and I looked around and I thought really carefully, I need a job, but I can't go out there and do construction no more. I couldn't do the construction or the stuff that I used to do because I was always a physical labor person.
Right.
It was
Right.
always hands on. And so I was like, okay, what can I do that I don't need sight for? And the whole time while I'm thinking about this, I'm like, okay, wow, I don't know computers. So basically, I started going through taking courses at Hadley School for the
Yeah.
Blind.
Yeah.
I took keyboarding courses. I took, my fiance is teaching me how to get on the internet, and that's sad because at the time I was over 30, and I had no idea what the computer was all about. I was always the thinker. If I
Right.
wanted to do something, I would call my younger sister and be like, "Look, I got this idea, but it takes some computer work.
Mm.
I'll give you the idea. You just do the computer work." And that's how everything in life was with us.
Right.
So I
Right.
started taking courses through Hadley, and I started liking Hadley. I took a couple of their courses, their keyboarding courses. I think I took business law 1 and 2. I took got certificates from a couple of courses down there.
Yeah.
So my goal was, me and my fiance again started looking at little, technical colleges and stuff like that with stuff I can do without sight.
Right.
We had a West Virginia Business College, a little junior college right here, a little community junior college.
Yeah.
They gave nursing and paralegal. Okay, my thought on lawyers and paralegals, you don't need sight to do that, and you really ain't got to be that smart from the lawyers I met. So I was basically cool. This is it's a business college. It's right here. It's not that big. It's really small. So I actually went down there. We met the admissions representative, Kimberly Blair. I love her till this day.
Oh.
When I went to see her, me and my fiance walked in the office, and she was talking to my fiance because at this time I'm using my cane and everything. So she was talking to my fiance, asking her, well, is she in the position, she wanted to take the nurse's class or whatever. And it's funny because my fiance is already a nurse.
Oh.
But she was like, he wants to go here. And you can just hear the sound, you can hear the pin drop in that room. And her first thing out of her mouth before she even caught herself, you're blind. And I was like, thank you for pointing that out to me. I kind of already knew that. So,
yeah, wives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Blind Chick. Jonathan Price here, your podcast producer. And I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart how much you guys pour into the show, and we could not do this show without you. Make sure you take a minute to click the link below or click on those 5 stars. Leave us a good review. If you have questions for Penn and Moses, visit us at feedback@aftersight.org or give us a phone call 720-712-8856. Until next week, Charles is going to come back and he's going to talk more about his amazing journey with vision loss and about some of the people who have helped him along the way. So you're going to want to tune in for next week. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this episode. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. It's good for your soul.